Hello everybody, Edre here, and today I'm going to be doing a new review of the new EP by Everglow. This is a weird title because it is a bunch of numbers. Negative 77.82 times negative 78.29, or I'm just going to say negative 77. That's what I'm going to be referring to it as because I do not feel like sitting down and saying the entire title multiple times throughout this review. And before I really dive deep into this EP review, I want to make one thing clear regarding EP reviews. I'm not going to be doing them too often, and the reason that is because EPs tend to come out quite a lot of the time. And I only want to really review EPs when that is the main thing we have to focus on. For example, if a band is going to, let's say, release a full-length album in about a month, I'm not going to review the EP that drops a few weeks prior. Now, with Everglow, right now, they are still in the early stages of their career. They have a few singles out, and this is only their second EP. They have yet to put out a studio album, which is why I plan on reviewing EPs such as this, in which EPs are all we have. Once they start releasing studio albums regularly, usually the EPs won't be as big of a deal unless it's something really fresh and new that I think is worth covering. So you shouldn't expect too many EPs to be reviewed on my channel. I mean, I just did the Troye Sivan one the other day, and the reason that is just like because of this. Right now with Troye Sivan, what we have is the EPs, so I'm going to review them. But now let's get deep into this review of the new Everglow EP, Negative 77. First off, going into this, I've reviewed some K-pop stuff before. I do admit I'm not constantly going out of my way to find new K-pop music to listen to, but when I do, I enjoy it. And this definitely does seem to fit that mold that I have come to know. For example, I reviewed BTS's Map of the Soul 7 earlier this year, and I loved that album. Then I also reviewed GxD's album as well, which came out. So, going into this album, I knew it wasn't going to sound exactly the same because not all K-pop sounds exactly the same. But I went into it kind of expecting something that I was sort of familiar with, and I did get that. I did get some stuff that I was familiar with, no doubt about that. But it opens up with La Di Da, which, as a song, has a pretty good beat. Like, a really good beat to really draw on your attention right away, and then you get these really cool synth chords and synth pads being played throughout it, which I thought were a really nice addition, which really did spice up the song quite a bit. There's even sort of a bit of a synth solo throughout, and obviously you could tell just by looking at me that I am American, and I don't speak Korean, so quite frankly, I don't really know much about any of the lyrics here, so I am not going to be touching too much upon that. That's also another thing to keep in mind about why I don't do too many K-pop and foreign language reviews, is because a lot of the times I simply just do not understand what they're saying because I don't speak that language, although I appreciate the music. The next song is Untouchable, which has some very good synth bass, very 80s sounding synth bass throughout, which I thought was a really nice addition. It does kind of remind me of a good revamped version of the old synth pop sounds that we've all come to know and love. And Untouchable has a really good hook that I was drawn into time and time again. The next song, Good Boy with X's instead of O's, had a very unique industrial trap type beat that I kind of thought was interesting. It was a very unique sounding track. Definitely one of the more unique songs on this album, or EP. You know, it has a very sort of, it's not a straightforward beat. It has a lot of little details throughout it from the different hi-hats and little toms scattered throughout, with overall just a really good industrial sounding beat. And it has some great build-ups that lead into the chorus and some of the verses, with some rattling hi-hats, and just overall a really great experience to listen to. And there's some good airy vocal effects as well, which just add that extra layer of atmosphere to this project. And then the final track on here is No Good Reason. It has a pretty standard pop trap beat, not gonna lie. But the one thing that stuck out to me in terms of production was the snare drum. It was a very big, poppy, but very grand sounding snare, which kind of goes with the production. Now, going overall, how do I overall feel? Vocally, I think that all the singers here do a great job. I think they all sound well, they all sound good, they all fit this style of music. And to go along with that, there are just some great vocal melodies on here. Some really intriguing harmonies and vocal melodies throughout all 4 of these tracks. And at the end of the day, there's those solid production on here too, which gives this an extra finishing touch that just makes it even more impactful. And I love that. I love that even though it's a 4-song EP, you could tell a lot of effort was put into this to make it sound as good as possible. Now, anything negative I have to say, I will say that I honestly just wish there were more. I wish we had more to hear. I wish these songs were a little longer here and there. But, you know, and I kind of wish they went even further than they already did, which they already went pretty far. So at the end of the day, I mean, I was left really satisfied. I know it's an EP. I know it's not a finished product. And I mean, it is a finished product in a sense, but it's not a full-length album. But for the most part, I was left enjoying it quite a bit. I don't have too much negative to say here, other than I just wish that, you know, it was a bit longer and had more added to it. But at the end of the day, I have settled on giving this EP a solid 8 out of 10. Now, anybody that knows my reviews or does not know my reviews knows that anything above a 5 is good, anything below a 5 is negative. So an 8 out of 10 is a really solid review, especially for an EP. Usually my EP reviews are not that highly ranked, just because they're smaller, they don't provide as much. But every now and then I stumble across an EP that is just so well executed, so well crafted, that I have to give it a higher score. And this EP definitely deserves a solid 8 out of 10. Everglow, 8 out of 10.